All right, welcome everybody around the world. Welcome to all my subscribers. Um, just a short video here today, another quick update, but introducing a religious perspective here for a few important reasons. One, like I've said, I know it sounds crazy, but it's really not. And at the end of the day, it's actually biblical as well. And I refer to this in my various videos and in my two books, which are available on Amazon, the End Days book and my Systematic Theology. I've got chapters that cover it there. But as crazy as it sounds, it's not. It's not crazy. Um, it is biblical, and based on the evidence we see in the world, something's going to happen along these lines. So, like I've warned in my recent videos, with all these mystery orb and drone sightings, the original ones, and I'm not talking about the military drones that are monitoring them, but the actual mystery drones. Like I said, all the evidence points towards them being extraterrestrial. And why have they been here for weeks monitoring? Well, like I've said millions of times, since 2016, I've been warning that the Bible reveals 2024 is the final year, it's the end of days. And I've got it in both my books and in hundreds of videos that I've made over the years. And these events have been unfolding in 2024, but also we had the attack on Israel unfold at the end of 23 and throughout 2024, fulfilling the prophecy of Ezekiel. So altogether, we have like 8 biblical prophecies, 7 that are from my one book plus the Ezekiel one. We have those things all being fulfilled with the years, the times, the dates, historical events. And 2024, with these mystery drones showing up at the end of the year here around the world, they're undoubtedly extraterrestrial. I mean, even going by what the authorities state, they state that they're not theirs. It's not the American government. They don't feel it's a foreign government. Even going by what the authorities have said, it points towards extraterrestrial. And I think the evidence shows, as I've argued before, these aren't negative extraterrestrials because they're not doing anything bad to us. They're just monitoring and observing. So, and maybe defending themselves at most. But at the end of the day, when you introduce the Bible into this, like I've shown from the biblical verses, even just looking at the New Testament alone, we see that Jesus arrives when he returns at the end of days. And as he returns, the resurrection occurs. It says, the final trumpet blows, Jesus arrives, and the resurrection occurs all at the same one time. So as Jesus comes, the resurrection happens. It says Jesus comes like lightning. It's going to be sudden, out of nowhere. It'll be a surprise probably to everybody. But as he arrives by the power of God, those who have died, who have just died, they resurrect, because it's also the time of judgment and discernment. But as he arrives, it says he arrives with the legions of the heavens, with the armies of God. And he will send out the messengers to the corners of the earth to gather all the worthy. And this will be a critical time. This is part of the judgment time, because whether you're worthy or not is being discerned then. The angels are going to go out and gather the worthy. Many verses that cover this and talk about this. And they do this when Jesus arrives. Okay? Many verses talk about this. So, because of the church's influence over the last 1,500 years, people have this concept of angels of looking like people or babies with bird wings, and they pluck harps and fly around on clouds. But this is a completely medieval Dark Ages concept. According to the Bible, messengers often look human, but they wear glittering or sparkling apparel. They can appear. They're almost always associated with lights that move around in the sky in Old and New Testament. Even at the birth of Jesus, they followed that light that guided them to the baby Jesus. The light would stop at times. It would shine light down on them. And when they arrived at the baby Jesus, it says a host of the heavenly messengers arrived. They just manifested. So this is what the Bible describes messengers like. In the book of Daniel, it talks about one that looks like a human but has blue skin. That's one of the messengers who are speaking to Daniel and giving him in his visions, if not giving him the visions. Abraham met messengers when they're in Sodom, and they looked human to the point where the locals were attracted to them and lustful and all of that. Many times throughout the Bible, And there's other messengers in the Bible like seraphim and the ophanim, the and the cherubim, and they look different than human. But a lot of the ones that the Bible speaks of look human. And in UFOlogy, it's common knowledge that half of the extraterrestrials out there look human, if not more. If you're looking at all the sightings and testimonials, you don't know who to believe really at the end of the day. But if you're just looking at it all across the board, a large chunk of them are human looking. So apparently, a lot of the life out there, and that would make sense. I mean, if the universe is full of life and some of them are going to interact with Earth or be involved with it, it would make sense that it would be ones that look more like us. You know what I mean? They're more related to us. They would probably see more kinship in us. Maybe you could argue, or maybe there's something to our history that correlates us that's intriguing. But nonetheless, in any case, that only makes sense. It would make less sense that completely unrelated looking biological life forms will come here. But if they look like us, that would make sense. It would make more sense. But the Bible says that's apparently what it's like. And these messengers they come from the heavens, they live in the heavens, they come down from the heavens, they go up back into the heavens. It's throughout the Bible. And Jesus comes with these heavenly messengers at the end of days. That's my point. So the heavens are full of life that God created. This goes back in Genesis when he created the earth and expanded and stretched out the heavens. He filled them with life. They inhabit the stars, not literally, but they inhabit out there amidst the stars. They serve God, and some of them can rebel against God, but those who rebel are kicked out of heaven and put into imprisonment on various worlds. Satan is one of them. So in Revelation 12, Satan and all those who served him were kicked out of the heavens. It says no more was a place found for them in the heavens, and they're kicked out, imprisoned here on this earth, just as an example. And it's fair to assume that any other rebellious group or sinful group or evil group will be kicked out of the heavens where they are up there in the universe. Likewise, that God takes control of things across the whole universe is only sensible. So I just think this isn't a far-fetched and as crazy as it sounds. It only seems crazy at face value because of what culture has done to these topics over decades. But at the end of the day, it's very, very biblical. So when Jesus is going to return, we should expect him to arrive with these celestial hosts, with the celestial messengers. And, we're told we're going to see signs in the sky, in the stars. The sun and the moon will be affected, all this and that there. It's going to be cosmic and heavenly, the type of things taking place, and fire coming down from the heavens and stars descending down. So we're going to have cosmic type stuff taking place. It'd be a very fitting time if these things naturally are taking place when Jesus arrives with the host. Like maybe Earth is going to get struck by some meteors, so God has just timed it that will be the time of the arrival. When you look at these mystery drones appearing, this just lines up perfectly with all of this. It's more, if you had to choose, are the mystery drones being piloted by nefarious beings or good beings? If you had to choose one of the two and no middle ground, I would lean towards good beings because they haven't done anything bad to us, right? Nothing at all. So all we have to go by right now, they look like they're good beings, right? If they're bad, they had all the time in the world. They've been here for weeks alone right now. They haven't done anything bad that we're aware of. So I think what the scenario is that these beings that are flying around doing whatever they're doing some type of surveillance. This is all in preparation, I feel, for the big event that will be coming, either in the last little bit of this year or in next year. It's imminent at this point, undeniably. And I think that these beings are just here to help monitor certain key areas. I don't know why certain areas they've appeared in, but for whatever reason, they've appeared in various areas and around the world monitoring. And they're probably in more spots where less people have observed and recorded them or become aware yet. But I think they're just surveying everything because something big is about to start. I'm not going to speculate further because especially if they have any well-concocted plans, the good beings, and maybe these ones are working for God and Jesus, like preliminary measures, they're just starting here. I certainly wouldn't want to impede. But I have ideas, but I won't say what they are because I wouldn't want to impede on any mission that they have themselves, to be respectful. But I have ideas why certain areas have been more populated by the drones, but I won't get into it. But I think there's a reason for everything. So what I think may happen next year is that these ones that have been going around surveying areas, I think they're going to migrate a bit and survey more areas, or just these key areas for various reasons to their mission. But at some point, it's going to come. I'm not going to try and dictate what the end days are exactly, like the events and everything, but I do believe that there will be at least one or two, or at least one meteor striking the Earth. It's not going to destroy the planet, but it's just going to be very, very terrible impact. And, I've experienced these things in my end days dreams that I've had since I was a child, but they fit with the book of Revelation. So there's no real conflict there. If I believe in one or the either or both, they don't contradict each other. So combining my dream with what the Bible says, I would say, yeah, some fiery star is going to come down and hit the earth. Not going to destroy the earth, but it's going to be very bad. And that's going to be one of the many things taking place in the book of Revelations. And soon after all that, the earth goes into darkness, which would be from the impact. That's reasonable to expect. That's what the Bible says, what I experienced in my dream. And at this point here in my dream, we witness a celestial battle taking place up above. That would make sense with the mystery drone scenario. What's taking place now could very well lead up to some type of conflict in the skies above. And on top of that, the Cliff Eye Webbot predicted that would occur, and it should occur in January, in early 2025, where the presence of the drones, according to the prediction, says that in January, early 2025, it would escalate to a conflict in the skies, not knowing what side is against what, but there would be a visible conflict in the skies. And then like a big event basically soon thereafter. Obviously, all these things are happening for a reason. And so far, like I said, the Cliff Webbot prediction, as spurious as it may sound to newcomers, it has been very accurate so far and predicted the appearance of the drones, what the strange behavior and everything that's taking place, even the reception to it and the human involvement with it. All that was predicted accurately. And also considering my recent dream that I had that I made a video about, in fact, two recent dreams. I had a first dream in, I think it was September 3rd. And in that dream, there was this little drone-like orb sphere UFO with not a little, but an alien was piloting it. It was transparent like a golden glass. You could see the cockpit and the creature sitting in it, but it was like very visible all the way around. The cockpit didn't take up much. So the being piloting it would have a lot of visibility, like all the way around pretty much. And nobody else could see it in this huge crowd of people. But for some reason I could see it, and I pointed at it for like myself, like I pointed at it, and then the being started hovering towards me. So a month later, on November 3rd, I had a dream which tied into my biblical end days dream that I've always had. And in this time here is monumental for me because I've had this dream many times before, but never got to see the actual arrival of the UFOs in this one sequence, one part of the dream. But so on November 3rd, I had a dream where I finally did see what was arriving in the skies, because all the times before it would be like, it's happening, it's starting to happen, but I wake up or whatever when I look up type thing. This time I actually saw it, and there was this massive mothership, at least one of them descending in the sky. It was huge, like immensely huge. And it was kind of shaped like a manta ray. But it was so big, and there was like clouds and smoke and whatever around it. So it's hard to tell the whole shape or the true shape, and had this big long red light on the underside. It looked super incredible. Like the most awesome design from like a sci-fi movie, just massive and huge. And it was descending down, but even by the time it was descending down in the sky up above, there were beings like aliens on the ground running around to various people, like, and it looked like they were apprehending them. I didn't see anything bad taking place, so I just have to vouch for that. But my impression was that of fear, and it's unknown. You don't know what's going on. And these beings, I didn't see anybody get hurt. All they did to this one person that I saw, the only interaction with somebody else was like three or four of these beings, which are human like, but they're wearing like full suits. So I couldn't see what their faces were like. And they just walked up to this guy who was standing on the other side of this roof looking up at the mothership. But I didn't see anything bad happen. So I got the impression they were apprehending people, but what did I actually see? I shouldn't demonize them if they weren't doing anything bad, is my point. And then one of them came up to me, but this one was different than the others. It didn't have a mask on, and I saw its face, and it was like a reptile type human looking thing. Didn't look like evil or anything, but I didn't know what it would do to me. So it got right up to my face, like a foot away, looked me in the face. But before any interaction could take place, I turned and ran, and jumped off the roof, got down to the ground, ran into like the little bushy area, and hid in a bush, just like in fear. But that dream was pretty monumental because it was the apex of what I never got to see all those times before, and it finally happened, and I saw like what happens. It wasn't just a one-off dream. This was like the end of a big build-up over years. So, and that was on November 3rd. So that was exactly a month after the weird little drone orb dream. And these are the only dreams in my life where I've ever seen an alien. I've only had a few dreams in my whole life that involve UFOs and things like that. And I've never seen aliens in any of my dreams. I've always wanted to, and I never get to. The only time I have seen them was with that little orb sphere one, and I couldn't see the being clearly because he was, a little ways away from me in this thing flying around. I couldn't even tell you what type of being it was or what it looked like. But the only time I've ever seen an alien, technically, would be in the dream I just described, where it ran up to my face. That's the only time I've ever seen one in a dream. So all these things make it more significant, but they do play into they play so strongly into the Cliff Webbot prediction, and I didn't even know anything about that when I had these dreams. I found out about it recently and later because when the drones started appearing, people were talking about, oh, this is what the Cliff Webbot predicted. The Cliff Webbot, by the way, had predicted that on December 3rd, there would be the arrival of these drones in the sky, these mystery craft like operating like drones flying around. That came true, but they actually did arrive a couple weeks before then, right? But by December 3rd, December 4th, December 5th in the news, it had hit the news. So the Cliff Webbot was accurate. Those predictions were made years ago, by the way. I just found that ironic. In December 3rd, we just see all this activity, which fits with what I warned would happen with the end of days, that we would see the extraterrestrials arrive, both good and bad, because the good and bad are going to battle above. So that played in hand. Then I heard about the Cliff Webbot thing. I learned about it, and I was like, well, wow, that actually fits with what's occurring, and it fits with my dreams. So, I mean, think about it. If something like this is going to happen, some big event, I bet you I'm not alone. There's probably other people who've had dreams like warning, like somehow, maybe from God or from the angels themselves, this warning about what will happen. But it's the timing of my dreams too. September 3rd to November 3rd, from the sphere drone dream to the UFO invasion or landing dream, that was exactly 1 month apart. It's there in my video dates where I testified about them the next day. So that to me is like maybe the dreams were spaced apart like that to show a message like they're going to be a month apart. So if you think about it, if mid end November, the start of December is when the mystery drones appeared, maybe it could suggest that a month later we would have the megaships landing, right? So that's why I said maybe in January 3rd there would be some major event like that taking place. I've also got video clips in my community section that I give a link to on YouTube. Nick Pope, very famous figure from the UK Ministry of Defense, or I can't remember his exact position that he held. very famous figure in UFOlogy. This is the only time, like I mentioned in my comment on the community post, that I've ever heard him or anybody make such a bold, powerful statement pertaining to the actual arrival of extraterrestrials and some major event on the planet, like on a global scale, or at least on a big scale, if not global. Like it would be an epic event. He let it slip out that people high up in the intelligence community know that there's some big event imminent, and they say it's around 2026, 2027, or sooner. That was amazing for me to hear him say that. So I have a link to him actually saying it in an interview. Then also, like Lou Elizondo allegedly knows that there's some imminent event. So even in, allegedly in the authorities and in UFOlogy, there is a belief that, it's almost 2025 now. 2026 will just be the next year, that there is something imminent and it's going to involve an arrival. But combining it with what's been taking place on the Earth, I don't think it's going to be 2 more years away, right? These are beings that are very advanced. If they're scanning or monitoring stuff, I'm sure they've already achieved everything. You know what I mean? Humans could scan a huge area in a short time. These are aliens. I'm sure that they've scanned and mapped out whatever it is that they are doing, and they've been done by now. And they don't require another 2 years to finish scanning or surveying or doing whatever observation things they're doing. I don't believe that there's some massive global World War III ready to take place. I don't think any of the nations want a big war like this. People are always quick to point the finger at China and Russia and this and that there, and judge them this way and demonize them that way. But I don't believe that humans are going to start a World War III. I don't believe that the world leaders want that. I don't think so. Not North Korea, not Russia, not China, not America. I don't believe anybody wants a World War III or will start it. And I'm saying that because a lot of people are saying the drones have shown up because they're trying to stop World War III from starting. No, I think they're here because they're observing and monitoring, which is what they're observably doing. And I think that they're doing it at this time because it falls in line with everything. Like I said, Jesus is supposed to arrive at this point during 2024 or just after it. That's when Jesus, according to the biblical prophecies, is supposed to arrive with the host of the heavens, and then the rapture occurs. The resurrection and the rapture occurs. People will be judged, discerned, whether good or bad, and if you're good, you get to go up, right? And we go on up into the clouds, like it says, and we go on to a new earth. That's what the rapture involves. So all of this would be entirely possible. And, considering how these beings are here now monitoring, surveying, and they haven't done anything bad. These could literally be the ones who are like picking out station points or waypoints where people are going to be raptured up from, right? That's that's literally what they could be doing. And it could be months away. It could be in early January, where the conflict starts, according to the Cliff Webb bot. January 3rd, according to my month gap theory, applying my dreams, but who's to say that's actual evidence? But early January, the Cliff Webb bot agrees with my little personal dream theory. So it could be that soon. But also, I don't want, there's no way that this is a coincidence that these things are happening in the world when I've been warning that we would see things like this happen when the end of days arrives, and that these are the years of the end days. That cannot be a coincidence. Right? The aliens out there flying these things around aren't conspiring based on some videos that I've made or things I've written in my books. That's just ridiculous, right? It's because something big is going to happen. And it cannot be a coincidence that the Bible's mapped out that 2024 is going to be the end and blah, blah, blah. And then aliens also happen to arrive then, because it isn't a common knowledge on the planet Earth that 2024 be the end of days. Very few people have heard my teachings for the last 8 years, right? Very few people have bought the books. But so there's no reason for aliens to time their arrival with that. This is like erroneous to them, extraneous to them. Like they wouldn't give a hoot. If the whole planet was thinking that and was aware of that and was teaching that for the last 8 years or 1,000 years and waiting for 2024, then it would be more reasonable if you had some nefarious aliens be like, oh, well, let's go fool the humans and go on their bluff of what they believe in, right? But no, humanity has 99.9%, 99999% of people have absolutely no clue or care that 2024 is the biblical end of days. So to me, the logics show that these beings are not showing up for any reason other than what could only be what's talked about in these. They're validations, therefore, of what the prophecy said would occur. That the stars, the messengers would be seen coming down. This would herald the end of days. The rebirth to Israel would mean Jesus is at the door ready to come. That was 1948. We're in the final generation. It's in the final year. The end of days is imminent. And these are the type of things we would expect to see. They are happening. So for me, it's just a validation of all these things. Now, even if a conflict started and some bad events started to take place, that for me only fits with my teachings, and that wouldn't and shouldn't dismay me. It would still dismay me, but not that anything has been proven wrong. If years go by and evil aliens take over Earth and whatever and subject the human race, or if good aliens come take over the earth and subject people to a pleasant life, but absent from God, those type of things would concern me as possible outcome scenarios of an extraterrestrial invasion. But again, I don't believe that such timing of these things would hinge on biblical prophecies that the world is vastly unaware of. So I think the odds are in my favor that this is the biblical end of days preparing. So I have faith, therefore, in the fact that even if some bad things take place for a while, this is only going to be very brief before the arrival of Jesus. Hopefully, just days at the most, if not, hopefully not weeks or months, especially not years. If it turns into years, that would start to be a problem. But so I think we should all be prepared for if there is an arrival. It could be arrival of some bad ones, and some bad stuff might happen for a bit. So I think we need to be prepared for that. I haven't necessarily seen that in my dreams. I can't say that. Like even in that recent dream where they came down, one came up to me, I didn't see anything bad happen to anybody's, and nothing bad happened to me. It was just a very frightening situation. For all I know, those could have been good angels, good beings coming down to say, hey, come with us. We're going to go up to the new earth because all this bad stuff is about to happen on planet Earth. So I don't want to demonize them. But I think it is based on the stuff that I talk about in my books here with Revelations and going through the chapters of Revelations. A lot of bad stuff is due to happen on the earth. And in chapter 7 and chapter 9 of Revelation, it details the timing of when the good get taken away and such. So what it says is that in both chapter 7 and 9, it's speaking to the bad beings, the narration is, and it says that you have to hold off until we finish sealing all of those who will be sealed. So that gives you an indication that all these bad things will be happening, and the release of bad beings upon the earth, fallen angels and such, will be happening while the good are still here, right? And those bad ones won't be able to touch the good until they've been sealed and taken away. All right, so the good, even if you're going to be raptured up and taken away, to paradise or whatever you want to call it, into the heavens, you're still going to be here when some bad stuff starts and the appearance of bad beings and fallen angels. So fallen angels are extraterrestrials who got kicked out of heaven. So you will see the appearance of these things and go through a bit of it before you get taken away in the rapture. So we have to be prepared for that. But I don't think it will be long. I think it will be less than a day that we'll have to endure anything like that if we're being taken away. If we're not redeemed, if we're found unworthy and we have to get stuck here, then I believe in the period of up to 5 months, it says to be tormented by the fallen angels and such, if you survive, right? but the aim is to hopefully be taken away in the rapture. But all of this will be happening very, very quickly. So we'll be here for a bit in negative events, and then Jesus will arrive like lightning, out of sudden, unexpectedly. The good angels, the good messengers will be all around the world, probably appearing around the world, appearing unto people or appearing above and coming down unto people, whatever it might be. And the people are probably going to have some type of quick little brief dictation said to them, like, oh, you have been found worthy, or blah, 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 because it's going to be the time of the discernment. You have the black horseman who has the weights and measures in his hand. And this is the time in Revelation 9 and in Revelation 7 where it talks about don't touch the good until the sealing is finished, right? So the bad beings are present, but they're told to hold back because the good are being sealed. That indicates when the angels have arrived, they've come to you, discerned you, you're sealed, good, and ready to be taken up. All of this, I believe, transpires in one day, according to all the verses in the Bible. I've covered that in my videos, and it's in my books. All the verses, they literally detail in that day, it's in one day. All these things in Revelation occur in 1 hour, according to a part in Revelation. So I believe all this stuff will be epic, major, terrible to go through, stressful, but it should last less than a day. But it will be big, bad events to go through. So it'd be very traumatizing, but nonetheless, it should be less than a day. You just got to make sure that you're going to be worthy to be taken up. You got to reform from your sins and all of that there and stop all your sins, become a new and better person as soon as you can. But it's probably too late now, because if you wasted your whole life and haven't done it, but it's never too late. It's never too late. But it's in a all-encompassing reality situation. It's never too late, because if you're for a judge who's going to judge you on every drop that you've done, you don't want to say, oh, it's so late, I can't make a change now, it's too late for me, I give up, and then go off and do bad. You're just going to be punished extra for the bad that you did at the end there. You can't escape the pure justice of God and the recompense for good and evil. So it's in your best interest to reform, even if it might be theoretically too late. It's always in your best interest to, because you then commit less crimes, which accumulate to you less guilt. So if you have committing less crimes and offenses and sins, you're accumulating less guilt and you will receive less punishment for it. If you're committing more, you'll get more guilt and more punishment for it. So there's no point in ever saying, oh, I give up, there's no point in doing it. There's always a purpose and need for reforming. But if you reform right at the end, right before Jesus arrives, and you've wasted your whole life not reforming, you just do it at the end, it's still better than you never doing it. And if you do reform, you'd be rewarded for that. But God might say, oh, well, you have to prove a little bit more to me. I don't know. But the end essence is you better reform. Do it now, right? That's all I could say. Better than nothing, right? I'm just saying this because lots of people will be in different walks of life. Not everybody's ready to jump up on the ship and go up. A lot of people, are still down in the muck and the mud. But there's always hope. You have to reform. That's the way. And just like the New Testament says, the messengers watch us. There's a messenger that watches over each of us. And they behold the face of God, it says, every day. And they watch over us. And there's, guiding, watching angels who watch over children as well. Everybody has angels watching over them. These are the messengers, and they are watchers. They watch. That's what they do. And they're working for God. They're his host of the heaven. And the ones here now with the mystery drones are probably just in orbs, are doing this now as preliminary measures for the big thing that's going to occur. So, but yeah, that alert actually tells me that there's a meteor close to the Earth or something. It could be really close or not close, but I don't know where I have the my device. But anyways, there is a big meteor going by Earth today, but it's not supposed to hit. So, but anyways, yeah, I'm not here to make people get riled up and think that some big bad event's going to happen. But look, I'm just teaching from a religious perspective, the Bible, the end of days, as I always have. And these events that are taking place in the world seem to correlate and align with it. So I have every reason to talk about this from a religious perspective. And I did say that in the intro. This is not about creating a conspiracy vibe and getting people afraid of an alien attack and all that. No, the aliens are actually what we've called angels. There's more good ones than bad ones. The good ones will fight the bad ones at the end of days. We'll witness it, and the good ones will take us away to a better place, right? Maybe we come back here after, I don't know, but whatever. We go on to a better place, a better world, which is what we've always hoped for, right? There you go. That's the core of this message. It's not to build up people in fear that there's going to be an alien invasion. Just go about your life normally as you always would. Work hard and love and care for everybody that have a good life. Live it as if you didn't know anything, so to speak, but just know that this could happen imminently, right? That's how you should do it. Don't make any physical preparations for the end of days. That could always just be thrown in your face to mock you by the universe. Don't ever make any. Just make spiritual preparations inside. That's what I've always said. That's all you need to do. And make the Reformation. That's what you need to do. Those are the important things. No physical preparations will benefit you. And I don't recommend anybody do any physical preparations. Just go about your normal life, live your life, be happy, serve God, reform, do that. You can't go wrong doing that. That's my message to everybody. My message is not to be afraid that there's going to be some invasion because, like I've said, if one does occur, my belief is it's only further fulfillment of what I've been teaching. So they should be good beings coming here to redeem us. So as long as you're a good person, you should have nothing to fear, right? They're not going to come to us and not mention Jesus. So if they do come to us to seal us for the rapture, I'm sure that they're going to be mentioning Jesus and God at some point. You know what I mean? They're not just going to come abduct you and take you up into a spaceship and be like that. No, it's going to be in that religious context. Oh, we're here. This is the end of days that was foretold. You are now being judged. This is probably what they're going to say to you. Jesus is here across the earth now fighting Satan. God is overseeing the whole battle, right? We're going to take you up to the new earth as the Bible foretold. Being a believer and a Christian, you would be familiar with all the things they're talking about, and then you'll go with them, right? That's how positive and stress-free it can be, right? But anyways, take care, folks, and God bless. I got to go. I'm very busy. I got to do stuff.